Hey, you are watching Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I am Elisa, and I'm going to do a reading. I actually did one earlier, but it was like a really different message than what I was getting, and it feels like there's a lot of energy today, so I'm going to do another one, and also mix up the decks and see how that mixes things up. But yeah, there has been like, oh yeah, it does seem like there's been a shift in the messages for sure. Okay, so the bottom we got the serpent. So this is a card about awakening, and it's a card of like Kundalini energy, sort of like being unblocked, and sort of like it's like an omen that like good stuff's about to happen, and it's like a metaphor for like the phoenix rising, or for empowerment, you know, after you've kind of like done all this inner work and like healed all of your blockages, so then you can walk through the world in a state of flow. I love how this has this dragonfly here, but this is also like a sign that, like, interesting, like when I picked this up, the flow card was underneath it. This is a sign that like a profound change is like about to like present itself. And then what's interesting is the next card we got is wind, which is a card of change, and it's a card of having the courage to face the change within yourself, and adapt, you know. And it's really crazy because it's actually super windy here today, and especially like this morning when I got up, it was like really windy. Oh, and there's also a bird in this. Super interesting. It's like a hawk. So yeah, things are changing, and it looks like for the better. And the witness is a card of unfolding. So it's just sort of like you've already done all the work and manifested what's about to unfold. You know, the witness is, it's like when you truly are in your power and have done the work to manifest something, you don't have to like sort of like force an outcome, you know, because like I think that's a thing that people are often tempted to do, but like actually for real sustainable change, like that's actually not, like that's actually the opposite of what you should be doing, because this is a card of just sort of like allowing and like watching things unfold. And so that's also like a really good omen. So it's just sort of like the change is just going to happen, and it's going to be a good change, and there's not really anything active to be done about it. It's about to happen, and you're about to see the power of the manifestations that you've been putting out into the world. Okay. Okay, so we have, oh my gosh, I'm going to the to Radiant Wise Spirit and get some overall energies from there also. Okay. So we have the Lovers. This could be a deep soulmate connection. It could be like integration, like integrating like the light and the dark, or the masculine and the feminine within yourself, and like bringing things into harmony, which is kind of what I'm getting, especially with this card, which is a card of like balance. It's sort of like bringing things back into balance. So It's interesting that it's followed by this card, the Eight of Swords, which is a card of like sort of like fear and anguish and like being blindfolded and not able to see your path forward because you're so, you know, and it's almost like kind of what I'm getting from this, or what just came to me, is like this person has sort of like been traumatized by some situation, and they're sort of like, there's all this good stuff like right in front of them, but they can't even see it because they're scared to open their eyes because they're so shell shocked by all the stuff that they just had to deal with, you know. But actually this is going to come back into balance. So it's just like, and it's gonna, a new and stable foundation is emerging from this. So it's just like I'm getting a little bit of like a healing from trauma kind of energy from this, but it is a good reading. But you know, like I think the cautionary message is to like, don't sabotage what's happening by sort of like replaying old traumas, you know, like really try to be conscious and intentional about what choices you make so that you don't, you know, keep bringing those things forward into this, because there's actually all this good stuff here. Okay, I'm going to the Intuitive Night Goddess, and oh my gosh. All right, so we have the Eight of Cups here. So this is a card of walking away from something which no longer serves you. Maybe whatever it is that caused you to be traumatized that you need to sort of like heal from and shed. Like this is kind of like shedding of the skin and shedding of things that don't serve you so that you can empower yourself, you know. So it's interesting that those fell on top of each other. But we have moving on from a bad situation to a better situation, really taking a moment to reflect. This is meditation, or the Hangman, and think about being intentional, you know, about not carrying this forward. Like we really want to be intentional about investing in this energy. You know, and that's the internal work that needs to be done to sort of like adapt to the change. And then there is a conflict here, which that's going to happen when you kind of break away from things that aren't serving you. I mean, sometimes they might be serving someone else, you know, and so that could be bringing up a conflict. But, you know, don't be deterred. Really be intentional about manifesting your outcome, you know, and not being intentional about being sucked into the drama, but being intentional about manifesting the outcome of the life that you are trying to bring forward. Okay, I'm going to go to the Priestess Light of Light Tarot, because it's like there's really an opportunity here for really good positive changes to happen. But it's really important how you invest your energy in this moment. Okay, so this tenderness, I love this. This came out in the reading that I did yesterday about clarity and something else. But it's also a very vegan card. We have friendship, support, fun, unity, and play. So like, this came out in the message that I did earlier today. So I feel like this is a really important one, and especially in the context of these messages, it's like very important to be intentional about the energies that you allow to be in your orbit, you know, because if you have like really toxic people, that can really bring you down, you know. And for example, like this whole thing with this Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing that's in the news right now, it's like it was like a super toxic relationship, and you know, it really kind of like destroyed his entire life that he had gotten involved in this toxic relationship. So it's really important to choose wisely, you know, those people who are in your life. And interestingly, that goes right into twin flames, soul partner, eternal connection. Wow. So it looks like this, and it's interesting too because the reading that I just did, which I'll link here, was all about divine unions and like divine feminine and masculine coming into balance, and I think that's like sort of like a foreshadowing for a twin flame union coming up. So it's interesting that all of that is sort of coming into play here. But yeah, this is a really powerful message, but it's also like it's an opportunity. It's like not a done deal. So like, you know, be super thoughtful, intentional, and like really take time to reflect on what you're trying to bring forward, because this is like a really critical moment in time that can really impact the outcome.